Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. Attorney Jeremy Hogan of the law firm Hogan and Hogan is sharing his latest ideas on what he thinks is going to happen to XRP on a number of fronts, including price action, especially if this whole thing gets cleared up in Ripple's favor, what the timeline for that might look like. And also, what would be the most disastrous outcome for Ripple, and what would be the best outcome for Ripple, and what might all of that mean? And you know what was interesting in watching this? I mean, the whole thing, because he put out a video the other day, just to be clear. He runs, I wanted to highlight, that's why I had this page pulled up. He runs a YouTube channel called Legal Briefs. I encourage you to go check him out. He's been making a number of videos about the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit lately. But one of the most interesting things that I found in this video was that, in his opinion, even if it's a slam dunk for the SEC and everything goes horrendously wrong for Ripple, even then he doesn't think that XRP magically goes away. You know, maybe perhaps Ripple just have to reincorporate somewhere else, but he doesn't even think that's likely. He was just trying to imagine what could possibly be the worst outcome, and even that is not some sort of death blow, as you shall see. So I just want to encourage you, if you want to stay on top of this, you can subscribe to his YouTube channel called Legal Briefs. And I wanted to mention this too before jumping into the specifics. Like, it's going to be hard, for many people, I think, for the duration of this uncertainty. It's going to be hard for people to keep their emotions in check. And so here's an article that just came out today from crypto media outlet U Today, and it's titled this. It's a scary headline. XRP will be remnant of history by the end of 2021, says Arca co-founder. And so I wanted to start with this so we could get our minds right here, because once we go through the specifics, which I'll do immediately after this, I think you'll see that certainly from Jeremy Hogan's perspective, the risk-reward opportunity is tremendous. And I just think it's important to focus on the fact for us as XRP holders, it's going to be a bumpy ride, and you're going to see all sorts of headlines that are going to hit you emotionally. And so just be prepared for that. It doesn't change whether or not Ripple is in the right or the wrong. It's just people that, a lot of people, if they are anti-Ripple and anti-XRP to begin with, well, what do you think they're going to say anyway? And so we've been seeing all sorts of that stuff, and it is scaring people. It is making headlines. And that's too bad. Like, thoughtful people can disagree. I'm totally cool with that. I encourage diversity of thought. But you kind of got to question some of the stuff that people like to say, including this individual, and I'll explain what I mean by this. Phil Liu, the co-founder of New York-based cryptocurrency asset management firm Arca, predicts that XRP is going to become a remnant of history by the end of this year, the Wall Street Journal reports. And here's a quote. I think that this thing will be a remnant of history by the end of 2021. Well, I'll tell you what, that's especially hard to believe given that XRP certainly isn't at zero now, despite the scariest of news it possibly could have faced. And that if you're talking about going to trial, that's going to take over a year anyway. And that's if it goes to trial. If it doesn't, then that means there's a settlement, and that would be good for XRP anyway. So this whole thing of by the end of 2021 is just something that he arbitrarily stated doesn't make sense. From a legal perspective, in terms of how long this all takes, does not make sense. Arca's family of investment products doesn't offer exposure to XRP. Well, go figure, right? Oh my gosh. And so part of what he stated here back in February of 2020, and this is why I wanted to share with you, he already had a bias. Check this out. In February, or maybe that was a Garland House comment. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I take it back here. I think it was this part. Investors from buying XRP. I apologize, guys. I thought I had the spot picked out that I wanted to cover here. Maybe it was this. Let me read through this. I apologize if it's not the right spot. I do my best to try and map out beforehand exactly which parts of articles I want to cover, but it's not always going to be perfect. Anyway, in late December, Liu predicted that Ripple could ultimately become insolvent by the end of 2021 since the company has no alternative to XRP sales that are at the center of the SEC lawsuit. Well, just to be clear right now, last they publicly announced they have hundreds of millions of dollars. So even if they can't sell XRP in the short term, I don't think they're going to become insolvent. So he's just saying stuff. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, frankly. Nothing against the guy personally, but he doesn't know what he's talking about, and he seems to have a bias here. He goes, and so here's a quote. I don't see a viable alternative to replace XRP sales except to move out of the US and exclude US investors from buying XRP. They would have to start from scratch because all XRP profits would be disgorged since they all occurred when Ripple was a US based company. And so I still didn't see the part that I wanted. There was here. I know what word to search for. Inadequate. There we go. This is the part I wanted. Okay. Lou, a securities lawyer, says that he finds the allegations presented in the much talked about complaint compelling. He explains that XRP is the firm's only revenue stream while describing its products as inadequate. And so that's the part I wanted to highlight there. He doesn't like the products that Ripple offers, and so he already has this preconceived notion going into all of this. And it's just fascinating to me. So what do you know then that Ripple's over 300 customers don't? What would you tell those customers about their products being inadequate? Maybe you should convince them, let them know, because it sounds to me like they must be making a rather poor business decision being a customer of Ripple. And mind you, like 20% of all the flows on RippleNet utilize on-demand liquidity, which means XRP as a bridge currency. That doesn't sound very inadequate to me. So I don't know what this guy's motives are, but he doesn't like Ripple and he doesn't like XRP, and I think that's playing into what he's stating here. But I'll tell you, if XRP indeed is a security today, then so is Ethereum and pretty much any altcoin that you could possibly imagine. And so I don't think that things are going to end up so disastrous. And so, as it turns out, Crypto Newsflash actually covered this video already. And so they titled this, Attorney Discusses Worst Case Scenarios of SEC Lawsuit Against Ripple Labs. But it was more than just that. It's not just about worst case scenarios. In fact, here's his video, and he titled it Lawyer 2021 XRP Price Targets with Timeframes in Context of the SEC versus Ripple Lawsuit. Moon Bugatti question mark. And indeed, I did get a shout out in this video. And so, Jeremy, if you're listening, thank you very much. I really got a kick out of this. So at this point in the video, I don't want to get ahead of myself too much, but I'll just share it with you since it's on the screen now. He said something along the lines of, if we get clarity surrounding this, or if maybe he said the lawsuit goes in favor of Ripple, we all know what that means. Moon Lambo will become Moon Bugatti. And so he crossed out Lambo and wrote Bugatti. He's got a little picture of Bugatti here. Because obviously, for those not to know, Bugatti's, generally speaking, substantially more expensive than Lambo. So if that happens, maybe I'll have to change my name to the Moon Bugatti channel. So anyway, thank you for the shout out there, Jeremy. I do appreciate that. But let's start with some of these points having to do with price. So Jeremy said that, buying XRP at this point in time and at these prices is an excellent speculative investment for himself. And so he wasn't advising that people run out and buy, just to be clear, I don't have a law background. I also don't have a financial background. I am not offering financial advice, and so you should not buy or sell anything because anything I say are right. I just think it's fun to talk about these things. And so he was coming from the same perspective. He said for him, it just makes sense at these prices. And he said this, that the lawsuit is artificially holding down the price of XRP, and he says a good resolution, he expects, would push XRP past its 2020 high, which was 70-something cents, unless you count that outlier instance of XRP being on Coinbase for a split second at 92 cents. But everywhere else on the planet, you got to, I don't know if it was 75 cents, 78 cents, something like that. And so he's expecting it to go beyond that. And he said, as far as the timeline, if we get this type of clarity and it's good for Ripple, he thinks that would happen inside of a day or two, which doesn't seem wacky to me when you considered what happened with Kick Interactive's Kin token. When that coin got to regulatory clarity, it shot up immediately, and in a matter of a month or two, it was up. I'd have to look at the charting. It was somewhere around there. It was up over 2,000% at its height. So it's definitely something. And that's outside of alt season, mind you. That is incredible to me. And he also said he expects this artificial price suppression to continue anywhere from 6 months to 1 year. And so on the short side, it would be 6 months if you get a settlement, because that would happen sooner. If it goes to court, though, then you're probably looking at a bit over a year. And so until there's some sort of clarity, you are looking at that type of suppressed price. That being said, in following the chart analysts that I follow, many of them do believe that you could still see spikes. It's just going to be at a more suppressed level. Like Credible Crypto, he still thinks that 46 cents is in the card. There's Leb Crypto who says 38 cents is in the card. There's Rakesh Upadhyay who says also that 38 cents is in the card in the short term. And so there's all sorts of indications that XRP is still following the price action of Bitcoin, but it's at a lower level, artificially suppressed because of all of this. And so that's why I want exposure. And you know what's neat about this too is Jeremy Hogan, he came at this researching this case from a completely neutral standpoint. The only crypto that he owned prior to researching anything having to do with Ripple and the SEC and XRP, the only cryptocurrency he owned was Ethereum. He's publicly stated that at least a couple times on his channel. And so after researching everything and becoming, it's his due diligence and becoming informed, then he made the decision within the last week or so to purchase his second cryptocurrency ever, which was XRP. And so that's quite a vote of confidence coming from a lawyer that's well versed on these matters here. And so I thought that Crypto Newsflash did a really good job highlighting the bulk of these points. And so I'm going to run through this. I actually watched Jeremy's video twice just to try and soak it all up. And then I saw this piece and I was like, holy hell yeah, this covers up the main points pretty damn well. Outside of the price stuff, which I did want to mention because I just found his perspective on that to be interesting as well. But anyway, Jeremy Hogan of the Orlando, USA law firm Hogan and Hogan ran through what he considers to be the most likely worst-case scenarios for Ripple Labs in its case against the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission in a YouTube video. At the outset, he stated with regard to the assessment of XRP as a security under U.S. law that there can never be a blanket determination. The status, he said, is always a snapshot in time. Excuse me, sorry. To underscore this argument, Hogan cited an analogy from former SEC Chief Clayton during a 2018 speech. And so he's talking about Jay Clayton, the asshat. And so here's the quote from that. In his speech, Clayton said that if someone sells you a token to allow you to use their laundromat, that is not a security. But if someone sells you and 10 other people tokens they can use at a laundromat that is still being built and then uses the proceeds of the sale to build the laundromat, and you expect to be able to sell the tokens to another guy for more money once the laundromat's completed, that is a security. But once the laundromat is built, any sales of tokens at the time are not sales of securities. Those are just a kind of currency. So as Clayton says at the bottom of the story, just because it's a security today doesn't mean it'll be a security tomorrow. And so it's just interesting. So right there you have Jay Clayton, the asshat, acknowledging that things aren't necessarily static, but it doesn't seem to matter, does it? But I mean, it's because that's kind of hitting on what I'm talking about here. But the U.S. SEC law, it doesn't account for that. And in fact, Jeremy Hogan made it pretty clear in his video, his opinion is that you really can't have that type of regulation because there's no reasonable way, in his opinion, I don't think I'm mischaracterizing what he's saying, but this is the take I got from Jeremy, is just that there's no reasonable way to make some sort of blanket regulation that can encompass all of this. And so if that's the case, that would certainly explain the SEC's decision to provide clarity, if you will, through enforcement, which is a terrible way to go about things, but that's what it looks like they want to do. The piece continues now. The lawyer believes that this is exactly what we're seeing with the sale of XRP. As more use cases for XRP are created and the XRP ledger becomes more decentralized, it is less likely that XRP will be a security. Like former SEC Commissioner Joseph Grunfist, Hogan also questions the true motive of the SEC's action against Ripple. In his testimony, however, Hogan went in a different direction, agreeing with Ripple Labs CEO Brad Garlinghouse that there could be an attack on the entire industry behind the lawsuit. And so here's a quote from Jeremy Hogan from the video. If you wanted to control an industry that involves over 1,000 different companies, many of which are decentralized and difficult to control, which is the more efficient way to control it? Suing each company individually, or by controlling the handful of large markets where those companies' goods are traded? And he stopped there. He said, just leaving that as food for thought, which is, totally fair enough. And I've talked about this in the past, and I've made my stance clear, and I want to repeat it here because I may have only mentioned it once ever on this channel. But that is what I suspect has happened here. Because think about it, there's regulatory clarity surrounding Bitcoin and Ethereum. The third largest coin by market cap at the time before this happened was XRP. And so, you can't sue Satoshi Nakamoto. Good luck with that one. Ethereum, they already came out, for better or worse, maybe it was premature, but they said that Ethereum isn't a security. And so what are you going to do? You have limited time, you have limited resources, limited staff, all that stuff. And so if you want to have the greatest impact and you want to do what clearly Asshat J. Clayton is done, it's to strike the biggest entity that you can, and then everybody else that wants to enter the space or is in the space is going to have a better idea of how they're supposed to act moving forward. So again, it's this terrible idea of clarity through enforcement. I just think it's an awful way to go about things, rather than actually provide sufficient legal clarity or come up with new regulations that would cover this. Either or. And so as a result, it makes all the sense in the world, since you can't go after literally over 7,000 cryptocurrencies on the planet, even though they all are basically, just about all of them, seriously, they're selling coins and using that as funding. So if you just go after the biggest, most notable one, that'll set precedent. And so that's what it seems to me is going on here. That would make the most sense given the situation here. A little bit of speculation, but that's fine. I'm okay with speculation. I just don't like conspiracy theory stuff. And so then they have the subheading, the worst case scenarios for Ripple. In addition, Hogan is optimistic that XRP will not be classified as a security. The SEC did not file a request for a declaration from the court that XRP is a security, which the SEC could have requested from the court, but did not. Therefore, Hogan concludes, quote, that clued me in. The effect of this lawsuit was going to be limited to monetary damages and affect only the XRP in escrow. Ding, ding, ding. He's nailing it here. And so that's why I keep trying to spread this message, because so many people don't know it. In a previous video, Jeremy had noted that there was no request for a declaratory judgment of XRP being labeled as a security, and a judge can't then state that, from a legal perspective, that XRP is a security without that being requested by the SEC. So there you go. We're not going to get from this lawsuit any sort of designation of XRP as a security, even if they argue that XRP today is a security. It doesn't matter if they say that if they're not asking the judge to take action on that. The judge can't just unilaterally take action on it. There would have to be a request for a declaration, making such a case. So it's not going to happen, according to Jeremy Hogan here. And piece continues. Further, the lawsuit could end with no clear winner, as prior SEC lawsuits indicate. Like other legal experts, Hogan speculates that a settlement between Ripple and the SEC is the most likely outcome of the case. To figure out what this might look like in a worst-case scenario, Hogan took his cue from the cases against Paragon and Kick Interactive. In the Paragon lawsuit, there was a financial settlement and an injunction for violating securities laws. On the legal implications, Hogan said the following, and here's a quote. This clued me in that even a bad settlement would only affect the XRP held by Ripple and escrow, and that was probably the sticking point in settlement negotiations. And that I could totally see being the case here. Ripple would never agree to a settlement that would result in them not being capable of selling XRP moving forward. That's a non-starter for them, very clearly. Now, the lawsuit against Kick was litigated to the end by the SEC, and ended in a 100% defeat for Kick. And listen up, because this is one of my favorite things that Jeremy has pointed out. Check this out. Kick Interactive completely lost. 100% defeat. However, he said that this is precisely why the ruling is interesting, because it shows that even in a worst-case scenario, there is still a mechanism for selling XRP in escrow that could allow Ripple to continue to expand its use of XRP while limiting Ripple's dumping of XRP on the market. And so, to be clear here, with Kick Interactive, which sold their Kin token, and they lost. That was a situation where they were selling the security. The Kin token itself was never labeled as a security, and trading was never demanded to be restricted by the SEC. And the SEC could have requested all of these things and opted not to. They also, and this is hilarious to me, I mean, it just gives you an idea of like how this is seriously a money grab. That's what it looks like to me anyway. but they're allowing Kick Interactive to sell their kin tokens, but they have to file an exemption form 45 days before the sale. So they put restrictions on it, but they allow what they labeled as an unregistered security being sold, and they won. They're allowing that to continue. All they have to do is fill out a simple exemption form. What in the ever-loving hell is that? But still, so doesn't that kind of give you an idea of the direction the SEC will go in this case too? Well, Jeremy Hogan certainly thinks so. And so on the most likely outcome, Hogan said the following, and here's a quote. My conclusion was that the most likely outcome of the SEC lawsuit would be a settlement involving a large fine or penalty for sales from 2013 through 2014 and maybe 2015, and some sort of control or limitation on the sale of the escrowed XRP, and that's a conservative conclusion on my part. That conclusion would hurt Ripple, no doubt, but would by no means be a death blow. And so here's the thing you got to consider. This is why I don't think that this is going to be absolutely horrendous when it's all said and done. And admittedly, look, we don't know until time passes, but if they went ahead and even if XRP were to be declared security, which again we know can't happen because the SEC is not even pushing for that, but even if they said that Ripple, as a result of this, cannot sell any more XRP, like, you are talking about the decimation of the cryptocurrency asset class in the United States, because that would indicate to every other entity that has sold a cryptocurrency what's at stake for them. They're gonna lose their funding mechanism. I don't think they're going to want to do that as a blanket statement when you're, because look, if the theory holds that they're just trying to make the entire industry watch by going after the biggest entity they could after Bitcoin and Ethereum, if that's that which I fine acknowledge it's speculation. If that's indeed the case, though, what do you think they're going to want people to take away from this? You know, I just are they going to take away that you're not allowed to start a new crypto company and sell coins? You are talking about, that'd be a serious move, and it would not be in line with how the rest of the world by and large is handling situations like this. So I'd be skeptical of something like that. But it is good, since I don't have a legal background at all. It's so good that people like Jeremy Hogan have come out and just kind of given their professional opinion on this, because for the layperson like myself, and probably you, because most of you listening are not lawyers, it's hard to get a handle on this, and just not knowing is part of what makes all of this the scariest. But arming ourselves with knowledge makes it easier, and that's also part of the reason, because this is an emotional roller coaster ride for so many people listening, and I get that. It doesn't mean you're weak. You have skin in the game. Of course it's scary, but that's why I started the video by highlighting this article about how XRP will be a remnant of history. Next time you see a scary headline like that, recognize that it's probably coming from somebody biased. And then understand that almost every lawyer on the planet that I can get information from it does not think that this is going to be some sort of death blow for Ripple and XRP. I'm only aware of like, I don't know, 4 or 5 lawyers on the planet, and 3 of them are in the SEC that think that XRP today is a security. They're hard to find, but they make headlines. They absolutely make headlines. So just be aware of that. I'm not telling you to buy or sell. I'm just saying whatever you want to do, just do your best to take the emotion out of it, as difficult as I know that can be, and just make the most sound decision for yourself that you possibly can. But I will go ahead and wrap up there. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything, because of anything that I say or write, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon Lambo. Oh, wait, actually, to the moon Bugatti.